listen to me. I have nothing to say. Like these
Yeah.
horrible thoughts that were just on repeat day and night that were
Mhm.
preventing me from making money, from getting clients, from having this be a successful business.
All right, Carrie. So, at the very heart of what you do, if you could sort of wrap up your mission in just a few sentences, what would that be?
Oh, okay. So, what I have been saying is, I help women package the gifts, talents, and skills that God has given them into their very own signature coaching. And that's what I've been doing the last 4 years and have been loving it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so how did you get into this? What were you doing before coaching, and how did you kind of evolve into it?
Okay, so that might be a longer story,
That's all
but
right. We got
okay.
time.
Yeah. So I worked as an occupational therapist. That's what I went to college for. And yet in 2011, I was diagnosed with cancer
Hmm.
and completely, out of the blue, I went to the doctor thinking I had bronchitis. And they're like, you know what? Actually, you have cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so that totally set me on a health journey. At that very first appointment, I asked my doctor, what can I do? Why is this? I thought I was a young, healthy person. He's like, don't even worry about it. You'll be fine. I was like,
Wow.
I am going to worry about it because I want to prevent this. I want to make sure like my kids don't get it, that type of thing. So that really set me into diving deep into the world of health and wellness and everything holistic. And so, yeah, I got certified as a health coach and I was working with other moms with cancer. There was not a lot at that time online. I was
Mhm.
looking for community and support. I went to the hospital's support group and it was all much older women and I had three tiny little kids. They couldn't relate, I couldn't relate, so I was like, okay, I'm going to help the moms that are younger that are looking for support.
Mhm.
And well, yeah, that was my first foray into health coaching.
Yeah. So when you got the notice or the news or whatever,
Yeah.
um, well, first off, when you got the news that you had cancer, what did that do for you? Like, I know you dove into like studying your health and everything, but like when we go into different transitions in life, like sometimes our identity is not the right word to say, but like sometimes these things shifts inside of us. Did you have any kind of like inner turmoil that you had to really like work through to get through that part of your life?
Absolutely. And I think that's why I got into coaching
Yeah.
is there was so much inner turmoil, It was a very dark, very lonely time in my life. I was still trying to work full time as an occupational therapist.
Um,
My at that time husband, now ex, but he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder
oh,
the
wow.
same year. And so he was just like, whoa, this is too hard. Like, and I felt like a single mom in our marriage, but still trying to have to do everything, still working full time, taking care of the kids while being very, very sick. So
Yeah. Oh, my word. Did you have community around you to help you through any of that?
a little bit. My family is not very close. I had a mom's group through our church, but that was it. Other than my coworkers, I didn't have the time or energy to really seek that out.
Mm. Isn't that interesting? I think a lot of us can relate to that where we're going through hard things and we don't reach out or we're so consumed with like the busy of everyday life that the thing that we really need, we just don't make the time because we feel like we don't have the time to do. So, this is really interesting to me because I feel like even in business, um, that we get started and it's like we would like support, but sometimes we can't find the right support. Like you said, like your family wasn't super close, at least not at the time. Um, and you had the support group with the moms, but maybe that wasn't like the best, the best group there. So it was kind of like you kind of had to find your own thing. Like you had your group at work, which is fantastic. I feel like in my life, when I was working in corporate, I think that probably would have been one of the best groups for me as well. Because you're with them all the time. It's kind of like family outside of home, right? Um, but I also, so what I'm tying this to business is I feel like sometimes we have to create the community. Like sometimes the community we want is not there and we have to create it. So essentially you kind of did create that. So you studied health, you got certified, you wanted to start helping others, and then you started finding people to help and created a community of your own. So how did that transfer into from health coaching into what you're doing now with business?
Yeah. So I did this. I was doing health coaching, on the side when I would, get home from work on the
Yeah.
weekends, all of that. I loved it. I really, really did. But I found myself in those discovery calls time and time again with women who are like, yes, I love this. I need this. And I
Mm.
don't have the money, like the medical,
Mm.
all of that. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, who am I to say no to these people that
Mhm.
I want to help and that need the help? And so I was always
Yeah.
like, don't worry about it. Like, let's just get started. And I coached honestly for 3 years without making a penny.
Wow.
I set my first rate at $30 an hour, and even that was too much for 100% of the women that I talked to.
Wow.
So I coached and coached and coached for free until God said, you know what? Enough is enough. Because I needed to heal still physically, emotionally. And during that time, my husband did end up walking out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, you're going to step back for a minute. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And I did. And it was the best thing. I needed to be healed first. I needed to understand, just he was pulling me into deeper relationship with him. And I am so grateful for that because I don't know if he would have gotten my attention any other way. I grew up Christian. I thought I was fine, but man, no, I did not have a relationship. It was a religion, what I was part
Mm-hmm.
of. But
For
he was
sure.
pulling me into relationships. So I stepped away from coaching for 3 years. I had so many limiting beliefs I had to work through in my own
Mm.
worthiness, in my own, I was always like, well, who's going to listen to me? I have nothing to say. Like these
Yeah.
horrible thoughts that were just on repeat day and night that were
Mm.
preventing me from making money, from getting clients, from having this be a successful business. And so for 3 years, I worked on that until he's like, okay, good job, and now you get to like enter back in. So yeah, he was so good and gracious around, hey, Kari, I'm going to protect you, but we got to work some things out first.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really awesome. I love hearing your story of obedience and just listening to the Lord and allowing Him to heal you and being patient through that process. And that eventually He led you back. And so then, did you, at the end of that time, did you come back into health coaching, or is that when you kind of transitioned into something else?
Yes, that is when I started to pivot. So, because I was working so intently on my own money mindset, worthiness, I
Yeah.
also became like a Dave Ramsey financial master
Oh,
coach. I was like,
awesome.
let's
Yeah.
go after money. Like, let's do this. I was super
Yeah.
excited. And then I started, talking about my services, my coaching, and I got into the same situation where all the people who were
Mm.
needing the coaching, needing money mindset help, they didn't have the money to pay for this. And so I was like, okay, well, let's just do ads then. I'm sure I'm just not finding the right people.
Yeah.
So I worked with a really big kingdom entrepreneur. We did a ginormous like challenge. And I got 350 people into my challenge. And I was so excited because I'm like, this is going to be it. I'm going to be able
It.
to quit my job. And here we go. And at the end of that, not one single person bought my offer.
Oh man. So then what?
So the next morning, you know how there's so many coincidences with God.
Yeah.
Um, I was venting, I think in a Facebook group for financial coaches. I'm like, I give up. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm never coaching again. And this sweet coach, she was like, do you want to talk? And I was like, okay. And she was like, did you do the market research? Did you, do XYZ? And I was like,
Mm.
what's that? Like, I didn't even know what that was. And so, even though I thought I had no money to work with her, I still invested. And oh my goodness, she helped me turn everything around. I was just
Wow.
creating these programs that, I mean, I wanted, but I didn't ask my people what they wanted in a
Mm.
program, how to be supported, what the price point would be, how long it would be, like all that kind of thing. So, it really turned things around. And yeah, I started from zero because yeah, I had to pivot just a little bit within that niche. And
Mhm.
that's when I started working with Christian entrepreneurs. Yes, I was still working on money mindset, but that wasn't what I led with. When I
Mhm.
found out, I did the market research and I was like, what do you guys want? And that's when, I was able to find a lot of women who are like, I want to create my own signature program. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do it. So
Yeah.
because I had created already 4 signature programs.
Yeah, right. You were skilled.
So yeah, I just give, it kind of is like in a very ethical way, sell them what they want, but give them what they need. I still think
Right.
money mindset is a huge component of what I am doing right now. The worthiness and who am I to,
Mhm.
all that stuff. Oh my gosh, it absolutely needs to be addressed,
Yeah.
but people don't want to buy that. So
Right, right. They don't understand that that's a huge part of what's really going on in the background. So I love this. You have shared so much so far. So the market research, highly, highly recommend that too. So, if you're watching and you're not sure about your program or if you're having some of the same troubles that Kari was having, like, yes, market research, ask people questions, find out what it is that they really need. Um, and I love that you had mentioned the money mindset. So that kind of brings me to another question then. Like when you're working with somebody and you see that they have issues around money. Now, this is so interesting because I feel like in the Christian community, especially, there's this different level of money issues, right? Because we feel like, well, if we're doing God's mission, maybe we shouldn't charge or we shouldn't charge much or whatever, right? So if somebody came to you and they were kind of in that funk or that mindset, how would you encourage them?
like if someone's thinking that we shouldn't charge for our services.
Yeah, or confused about her charging because maybe she has some struggle around, like, I don't know if I should charge, or I don't know if I should charge much.
Mhm. Yeah. So I have actually like the 30 top limiting beliefs that I feel like most Christian women have.
Mm.
And honestly, I feel like we attack those limiting beliefs. We, look at it. Is this true in scripture? Is this actually
Mhm.
what Jesus says? We're examining where it comes from,
Mm.
rewiring what it should be, and then kind of, I mean, I think by the end of that, like no one's even asking that question anymore because
Yeah.
yes, like it's not a sustainable business. Those 3 years that I didn't charge for coaching completely burnt me out
Right.
and I couldn't continue. So, you know what? It's okay to do that for a little bit. And maybe for some people, I do have like scholarships for people
Yeah.
that cannot afford it. Like there's ways to get around that, but it's not going to make for a sustainable business for you.
Mhm.
And your people aren't going to get as good a results, honestly, working with you because
Yeah.
people who pay attention. And,
Mhm.
like think about all those like $27 courses that you've bought. Like, how many have you actually completed
Or
and
even opened.
opened, but,
Yeah.
there's been a handful that, have been like 10,000, 15,000, and it doesn't need to be that. Like I would pay attention even if a program was $1,000. Like that's going to get my attention. You are going to show up. You're going to do the work. You're like, I am getting everything out of this experience. Showing up on the calls, doing the homework, you're gonna
Yeah.
do it. And so you you know, as the client are going to get much better results when you have that skin in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And for you as the coach, if you aren't charging, right? Like it's a weird word, but like if you aren't doing that for your client, then you're not going to help them be better vested in there. And so it's a weird thing. It's like you want to help them, get in at a low cost or whatever, but at the same time, it might not serve them well and they might not get what they need out of the program. And then as a coach, then you're not getting the results that you want for your clients. And it's this silly circle that we do. So, what do you think has been maybe the hardest thing about running your business online so far?
I always said it was lead generation. I'm just like, where are the people?
Oh,
Where are my people? Like,
yeah.
and yet, it wasn't really honestly an issue with lead generation. I think it was more for me, marketing. And
Mm.
I'm not a salesy person. I do not, I just want someone to like come buy my stuff, but like, how's that actually going to happen if you're not talking about your offers and talking about your programs? And
Yeah.
so I had to get over probably again, just limiting beliefs
Yeah.
around being salesy and spammy, but also figuring out how to do it in an authentic way that works with me and my personality, how God made me, where I'm not feeling like icky, to do
Yeah.
relationship marketing. So
Yeah.
that just took a little bit of trial and error. And you think you have to fit into this, well, the gurus or whatever, they're saying
Hmm.
this way. And at first I did like literally everything that they were telling
Everything.
me to do. And then I'm like, I don't even like this at all. So then I
Hmm.
just think we have to work with the personalities that God gives us. I think there's a
Yeah.
million ways to do it, to get clients to find them. It just, it depends on, are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Do you like doing challenges? Do you like doing webinars? Like, how do you like to connect and interact with people and finding, like, basing it off of your strengths?
Yeah, that's such good advice. We do. We tend to look at what the gurus are doing and feel like that's how we need to do it. But there truly are so many ways to grow a business. I was talking to my accountability partner yesterday, and she had gotten this message from someone about cold messaging cold messaging. And I was like, well, actually cold messaging does work. Like so does warm messaging. Like it there's so many things that actually work. It's just a matter of finding what works for you and what feels good to you and what is the best way to get your messaging and mission across to people. So, yeah, I love that. We don't have to do what everybody else is doing. We can literally use the personality that God's given us and the gifts and talents that God's given us, and incorporate that into our business in a way that feels good. So, yeah. Well, do you have any words of advice for entrepreneurs that are just getting started in their business, or maybe they've been in business for a little while, but they haven't really hit any major milestones income-wise yet?
Yes, absolutely. And it may not seem like business advice, but the number one thing that I would tell a person is to deepen your walk and your relationship, your intimacy with God.
Mm.
Because my goodness, the things that He has told me to do for my business have blown my socks off. He is literally the best business coach. And it's been, man, entrepreneurship is a journey of faith and trust in itself, but like
Yeah.
to deepen that walk with him, to be in the word, to just know his voice, to be able to ask questions, even, not even if it's for a business, but like, Lord, how should I market this? Like he can. I used to have, a belief that's like, well, he doesn't tell me that kind of stuff, like he may
Mm.
talk to me when I'm praying for my children or something, but like he's not going to
Mhm.
give me marketing advice. And so it's just been such a beautiful walk, getting to know him better and then following and acting out on the business advice that he's giving me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting because business is really, especially doing it God's way. it is really it deepens the element of trust and faith in what he's given us. And I love that you said like really listening for him and including him in things like your marketing. Like, Lord, I need wisdom in here, or what would I do with this? Like talking to him like he's really our partner. Um, Last year, about this time last year, I was just about to launch my big program, and I was so set up for success. And all of a sudden, I hear the Lord telling me to rest. And I was very confused and I was very scared because it was a long rest. Like, he was calling me to sabbatical. And I just remember feeling fear around, but there's so much momentum right now. Like, it's going to be the biggest month. These ladies have been waiting. Like, we got to help them. And but I was obedient. And Kari, that time was so amazing with the Lord and my family and my health. Like, he knew exactly what I needed. And because of that obedience, he rewarded me tenfold in January when I came back with my program. And so it's like, there are times where I think when we make the space to hear from the Lord, he gives us direction. And then, like you said, that obedience, like, we have to make the decision if we're going to move forward in faith that he has us, or we're going to keep trying to do things on our own. And while we might have success in our own, what he has in store for us is so much greater and more beautiful and more aligned than we could have ever created ourselves. So I love that. What does it look like for you sort of on a daily basis to include God in your business?
Well, so I have a very specific practice. And again, it doesn't need to be a formula. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
I have found that works for me. I
Yeah.
call them daily like business meetings with God.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
go ahead. I love it because I have something that I call my business meeting with God as well. So that's just so great. I love it.
amazing. Yeah. So, maybe I'll do this on a Monday, or sometimes I do it every single day, and it's just the steps that are going to draw me near to him and
Mm.
give me time and space to be listening, to be asking, to be thanking him, to be praying for my clients, my team,
Mhm. Yeah.
future clients, and it's just that intentional time that I love to be starting out with. But like, he also is like, he's on my desk, he's right in front of me. I'm like, whenever I have a problem, I'm like, Jesus, what are we going to do about this?
Yeah.
Just like, he's here. And I didn't start that way. Like, this has been more intentional. So, if that feels awkward to a person, like, I just ask him,
Mm.
how he wants to show up for you in your business today, and then just keep taking that next right step.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to fix my eyes on him. Definitely not perfect, but looking to him for most decisions.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that you said that he's like right here. He's right next to us. He's right on my desk. He's right next to me. He's holding my hand. Like, when we get into that mindset of knowing that he is always with us, it's literally like that verse about praying without ceasing. It's like we're always in communion with the Lord, and we can include him and ask for direction in just in the moments like, Lord, I'm talking to this person. What do I say next? Yeah, it's so beautiful. And you're right. It doesn't have to be some really structured thing. When I left hustle culture, oh, that was a big mess. But when I left that season of my life, again, God had called me out of that. Um, I was so stuck in, I had gone so long with just waking up, getting right to work, having all these conversations and all this money and blah, 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 blah. Right. But what I realized is that I had put God on the back burner. And so when I finally like gave in and stopped, it was hard for me to pray, Kari. Like, I didn't know what to say. So for a good week or so, all I did was I put on my noise canceling headphones and I sat in quiet or with some soft music, and I just made space to listen. And whatever download I got, as long as it was good and right and just right, I just wrote it down, and then I brought it back the next day, and then eventually it was like, okay, now I'm hearing this, and now it's like it was easier for me to talk to the Lord. And I guess I'm sharing this because, like you said, there's like no real structure to it. But if we've gone a while without talking to God or making that space, it can feel awkward. And so, like, being okay and giving ourselves grace, and like, God is so excited. He's so excited for you to come to Him. But we also have these like walls that we can sometimes build up, or this like almost shame, which is not from God, right? That's like keeping us from knowing how to talk to him. And he doesn't need us to talk to him. He just needs us to be present with him. So, yeah, I think that that's probably, Kari, the best advice that you or I or anybody could give anybody in business is to be with the Lord and be aligned with him and make space for him and include him. So that's so awesome. So, Kari, we like to end our show with a question either from a past guest or an audience member. And so I'd like to ask you a random question. Is that okay with you? All right. Okay. So, your question is, looking back, what are the most significant mistakes that you made, and how would you avoid them now? You might just have one.
In my business.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
well, I don't know. I guess it could be anything. It could be anything.
Okay. Most significant mistakes. I think, yeah. So I've seen this come up time and time again where, I was raised in a super loving family, but we worked really hard. And both of my parents came from farms in Iowa. Like you start working the minute you're out of bed, you don't sit down until, the cows are fed and it's 10 p.m. and you're finally ready to eat dinner. And
Wow.
so if something wasn't working for me, I just thought, okay, well, I have to work more. I have to work harder. I have to do more.
Mm.
And that was just the culture that I was raised in. So yeah, when I was a single mom. I was working full time, not making enough to pay for the mortgage. I was not prepared to take that on by myself. So I got a second job. And when that wasn't enough, I got a third job. And I am just like, I think what I would tell like my younger self is you have to honor who God made you to be. Number one, he made you to rest. He is our provider. Like I worked so hard and struggled for so long. Like we didn't get into all of this, but I lived like our house actually did end up going into foreclosure. I was the only one paying for that. And there was so much stress financially. And yet, like, God, he always makes beauty from ashes. Like, we were
Right.
actually able, like, when I was working three jobs, he was like, Carrie, like, what are you doing? And we lived in that house in foreclosure for 6 years and 2 months without a payment because of him, not because of me working harder. He's like, enough is enough. Like, you need to
Yeah.
stop this. Because I was still so burnt out and healing from a variety of things. And so just know that like he always has a way. It may not ever be what you expect it to be, but like he is good and he is faithful and he is our provider. And like that got my attention. And so I believe like miracles still happen today.
Yes.
I do. And like that is also what I would encourage. Fix your eyes on him and like don't take all the stress of life and everything on yourself. Like literally he's got out of the box solutions that you will never ever come up with. I would have never thought that we could live there for 6 years without a single.
Man.
So he
Wow.
always has a way, he always has a plan, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, he is so good. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. The other thing that kind of came to me when you were talking is um I recently heard somebody say, like instead of storing up our life and storing all the things that we're striving, we're always striving and working, right? But for what? For what, like to give up more time with our family or to give up not telling people about the Lord or to have all this money for retirement and then die early and not have it, right? versus like living in the now, living to give your life away, um, and trusting the Lord that He is going to provide in all things. I mean, that's an incredible testimony that He allowed you to live there for so long. That's just, yeah, it's amazing. Well, Kari, is there anything else that you like to share with our audience today?
I feel like, you know, because of the financial craziness that I've been through, could I just pray for them?
Absolutely. Let's do it. Yes.
Okay. So Heavenly Father, oh, I just thank you for these beautiful people. Thank you for Teresa, who is just leading them so incredibly well. And because of all the financial craziness that you have been through with me, I believe that I can just impart a little bit of my testimony, my faith, my trust into them. Lord, let them feel your peace, your joy, your presence. Your comfort in every situation, but especially in their finances. May they just keep taking that next right step with you. We are so grateful that you are there every single step of the way. And I just pray for favor, abundance, blessings on them, their life, their business, and their finances. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. What a beautiful interview this has been. We got to pray before going live, and now we get to pray us out. Kari, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to chat with you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
The Productive and Profitable channel is all about helping entrepreneurs grow wildly profitable businesses without sacrificing time with their families or the things they love. And we do this through top-notch trainings and community. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're ready to dive deeper and take your business to the next level, be sure to join our free business community over on Facebook. Simply visit teresataylorcoaching.com and hit the community tab. We can't wait to see you over there.